Welcome to UPSC Edge Hub. In this video, we'll be going through the UPSC 2025 essay question paper, and we'll understand each and every question, what can be written for those questions, and what are the best pick that can be done from these 8 questions for 1200 words. As you all know that we have to pick the question one. Uh, from the section one, we have to pick either one of the 4 question, and from the section B, we have to pick either from the 5, 6, 7, 8. So let's start with the first question that we see here. We see it says the truth knows no color. If you see this question, it is not the complete question. The reason why it is not the complete question is because it has only given the 4 statement saying Satya ka koi rang nahi janta hai. But again, if you see the next part of the question is what if people start knowing the truth? So if you start writing the answer for this one, then you need to also write the positive side of the question plus the negative side of the question. So negative side and the positive side both need to be covered in 1200 words. Now the thing is, as soon as you see this question, do you think this is the best one to be picked from all the 4? We don't know yet because we have to go through all the question 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll come to know what is the best one. So let us go through it. Now, in order to write the essay for this question, we understand that we have to write in 1000 to 1200 words. Now, to complete the 1000 to 1200 words, it is not easy to write just by knowing the 4 part. So we need to brainstorm this particular essay for 10 to 15 minutes before starting the answer. What are the areas we need to cover here? We also need to cover the history part. If we have any historical things where we know that the truth which has come after a long time, which was hidden from the public or from the other domain, from the historians or any other things. What is the idea about the public view on this one? What about the healthcare and also about the world part? So all these we need to go through it one by one. So let's understand in different way. So if you see here, uh, first of all, why this question has come up? The reason for this question to come up is Mr. Trump. He started to take the claim of war clash between India and Pakistan. India and Pakistan, which Indian side has always they did not agree to his claim that he is the one who mediated between the India and Pakistan. They always said that it is something that was come from the DCMO side of the Pakistan. So first thing is that now what are the things we can write as an example for this one? Because any essay that we write, there is definitely an example that need to be written for that one. In this case, if we start from the history, so let's take the example of Mahabharata, where you have seen uh, Kauravas has always blamed the Pandavas for some or other things. But at the end, when truth has come up, they have always been the victorious. The best example is Agyatwas, where they were hiding themselves from the world to the different state with different names. That's the one thing. The other thing is the recent one, the tariff part, where he's claiming that he's the one who mediated between the India and Pakistan, but that's not the fact. The other aspect you can take is the Babri Masjid, Babri Masjid part, because during the Mughal period, they has demolished the temple, and although the idols of the Lord was still present inside the temple, they have built the mosque on that, which after 100 of years, the truth has come in front of the public. So now if you see, it says the truth has no color, but there is a other side of this. What happens when the truth comes in front of people? The case of Babri Masjid. So that's the one thing we need to write at part of this one. There are a lot many questions, but we need to understand before picking any of the question from here, what is the best one, and do we have the enough 1000 to 1200 words for that? So let's come to the second one. I don't think people might have picked this question. Lot many people have not picked this one. We'll see the second one. The second one is it's talk about the supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. Again, this is on the expected line because of the recent operation Sindoor. The best thing here is we have seen the Pakistan side has already claimed that they were not in a position to start the war because our planes and the missile has already attacked their bases. So the art here is the main art is the war need to be ended without fighting. And the best example can be written from the recent is Operation Sindoor. What are the other uh, examples that can be written from the past? We do have the examples from the past. If you clearly look into the history, so the other case can be with the Chanakya case. You have seen to make Chandragupta as an emperor. What he started doing is he started taking the nearby area of nearby small kingdom into his alliances, saying that he is the one, Chandragupta is the one who is going to save them from the empire of Magad. The other example, this is from the Maurya Empire. The next example that can be taken uh, in the past, in the methodology, if you see Ramayana, after the Ravana was killed, Lord Ram has performed Ashwamev Yajna. What was the purpose for that? The horse will be roaming throughout the world, and all the kingdom will bow down to the earth, saying that I accept the Lord Ram as the king. Now here there is no fight. The fight has not happened. Just a message was written on the horse, saying, "Okay, this is what you have to do at the end of the if you catch the horse, this is what you have to do. You have to fight with the kingdom of Ayodhya." So nobody accepted that because they do not want to have a war, and war there was no war happen. Everyone understood that okay, even the enemy of Ayodhya, although there was not much, but every country will have some or other enemies. Even the enemies of the state or the country at that time was not ready to have a war with Ayodhya. That's another example can be written. The similar thing happened with the Mahabharata, and also from the history during the Mughal era, Mughal, and also during the King Maratha kings. Everyone you see the Shivaji regime. So there was a lot of small kingdom or small kings who did not fight the war. There was a message. There was a messenger who used to take the message saying that if you want to fight the war, then this is what you have to do. And because of the kingdom or because of the uh, great fighters, they were not fighting with that particular uh, small, big kingdom or large kingdom. And what was the uh, end of the result for that particular thing is the large kingdom used to get the area of small kingdom. If they are in a war with the big kingdom or a big enemy, these small landlord or the small farmers or the small kings used to support the large kingdom. There was no war between the small and the large kingdom. They just conveyed them that okay, we want you to support us. We do not want to fight. And these small kingdom has started supporting these people because they do not want to fight the large kingdom. These are the various examples that can be written as part of this particular question. Is this question doable? Then at certain extent, yes, this is doable. We can do it. So let's go to the third question. We'll see what is this. So it says, thought find a world and creates one also. Now, if I see all the four questions, this seems to be the most doable question. Why do I say that? because there are a lot many examples that can be written for this particular question. If you read it correctly, it says विचार एक दुनिया खोजता है और एक बनाता भी है. Now, in this section, you all know that in the essay there is lot many examples that need to be quoted, lot many authors, lot many big personalities name need to be quoted. This is the one where you'll get the n number of examples. If I go through health, lot many question you'll get. If I go through the methodology, you'll get n number of question. If I go through the space program, you'll get n number of question. If I go through education, there are lot many infrastructure, development of country, policies, government initiatives, and lot many. So if you see the example, uh, in the form of space, 100 years back or more than 100 years back, there was no program of the space program. People used to think less about the space. They used to think more about the earth and its resources. But what happened? One, there was a scientist who gave a thought about the space, and now almost every country is more lenient towards space rather than the earth. The other one is nuclear energy or nuclear plant or the nuclear bomb. So you see, there was when the discovery or when the manufacturing of bombs started, nobody knew about the nuclear bomb that this will be so devastating. But then there was a thought that created a nuclear plant or nuclear bomb, which has again created a new world. Now, if you see this particular field is generating energy, is generating revenue, is generating manpower, is generating job, it's generating everything. Although it has a side effect, but it is generating. So this is a thought which has given a birth to this many things. Now, if you take the other example of education, few years back, online education was not at all there in the market, but now this has started as a main source of education. Still, it is the main source of education. COVID has given the new thought like maintaining distances, healthcare initiative need to be increased, healthcare expenditure need to be provided, better infrastructure for the healthcare, and, and not many. So what did we find from the question three is this is the doable question and can be done. And this might be the easiest from all the four questions that we have in the section A. Let's go to the question number 4. Okay, so if you see the question 4, it says the best lessons are learned through bitter experience. This is fact. सबसे अच्छे सबक कड़वे अनुभवों से सीखे जाते हैं. Best lessons are learned through bitter experiences. The latest example for this one is space mission of India, Chandrayaan, where we are not able to land, and then we learn from the mistake, and Chandrayaan 3 was successful. That's the one example, which is the latest one. The another one is recently the airfield marshal has claimed that uh, during the Operation Sindoor, we had made some tactical mistake in the initially, but we learned from that. We avoided those mistakes and we came up with a solution. And then the war was ended within 6 hours or something like that. That's another example. Even in the past, if you see uh, from the Ashoka's empire or the Maurya's empire, what they have done, Chanakya has learned from his mistake against Dhananand, the emperor of Magad. And what he did, he went back, he understood what is a mistake, he prepared better, and came back harder, fought the war. Another example is Muhammad Ghori and Prithviraj Chauhan. Although Ghori was defeated every time, he was defeated by Prithviraj. He learned from the mistake. He kept on coming, and ultimately at the last, he won a war against Prithviraj. So these are the things. Even during the study, if you take the example of a student, what we do, we fail, we analyze why we failed, and then we rectify the mistake. The other thing is, so what the other thing happens here is, in the organization, in the business, people start, they start, they make mistake, they make mistake, they learn from that, and then they come up with a solution. So we know that once we are in a stage of bitter experience, as a human or any living creature on the earth, they start learning from that and they avoid the mistake in the next phase. So that's all about this session, section A, where we have the 4 questions. So what is the take from these 4 questions? What is the best one that can be picked from these 4? I think the people might have picked 4 or 3. Third one can be the best one, which can give you the more example and more relevant examples. Now let's go to the section B of this question paper, where we'll see question number 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now, if you see the question number 5, what, so if you see the question number 5, what it, it says that muddy water is best cleared by leaving it alone. So whenever you get confused with the English statement, if you understand Hindi, then try to read the Hindi statement. You'll get more context of that. For example, मैले पानी को अकेला छोड़ने से ही उसे सबसे अच्छा साफ किया जा सकता है. The muddy water is best cleared by leaving it alone. This is the question that can be best written. And the latest example for this one is tariff, Trump. Trump kept on claiming, he kept on claiming the war credit. He talks about tariff on the public platform. He put 50% tariff on India, but still India did not respond aggressively. They have kept silent. What will happen with this is, as you leave the problem unnoticed for some day, not all the problem, but the relevant problem has been left unnoticed for some day, the peak of that problem will settle down. Will settle down. So that's the core concept of the question 5. The thing I understand from the question 5, it's very tricky. You will be finding it difficult to write in the 1000 to 1200 words. Not sure most of the people might have picked this one, but this is definitely a tough essay to be picked. Now coming to the next one, question number 6. What it says, the years teaches much which the days never knows. The statement is very genuine, very relevant. Do we have the enough word to write the 1000 to 2000 word? 1000 to 1200 words, then I say yes, definitely we have the word. Definitely we have the word we can write on this question topic. And it talks about the human struggle, daily struggles, daily work, study, infrastructure, development, government policies. So if you see uh, the phrases here and the things that we can write in as part of this question, let's take the example of the learning phase. What do you learn in a day? If you combine all together for a year, it will be too much. In a day, you cannot complete the syllabus, but there is a high chance in a year you should be able to complete it. Day's effort will not be giving you the result, but year effort will show you the result, and also it will show how much you have progress. In a day, you cannot build the infrastructure cannot be developed, road cannot be developed, airways cannot be developed, companies cannot be set up in a day, ideas cannot be developed, ideas cannot be developed. We cannot also develop any infrastructure. We we don't even know if we have a technology. Technology cannot be developed in a day. But the year, if you take the example of the years, you should be able to do not many things in a year. Now, for example, any if you take the example of even in the past, rulers, kings, they used to fought a war, but the victory was not determined in a day. It used to take a time. Even the space system, space technology, it takes a lot of time. Cassini mission, if you take, or if you take any Jupiter mission, or if you take the example of Indian Chandrayaan, it's not the thing that it can be completed in a day. It takes a time. And then when it takes the time, that's where you will see the result of this particular effort that was given by the day by day. So this is a good question, can be answered. Not a big problem for this one. Coming to the question number 7, if you see the question, it says, it is best to see life as a journey, not as a destination. Many people you have listened, they say that life is a destination. You get once, you get once to leave. But that's not the fact. Life is never a destination, it's always a journey. From the childhood, as a kid, people start learning, they start innovating, they start on the journey of kids to adult, old, again death, life, birth. This is a cycle that they go through it. In each of this journey, now if you see here birth, they have taken the birth, they have got the life. There's no destination here. You go to kids, you have to do something. You cross this age, you get the education, you have to again do something in the age of adult. Again, you're in a journey of earning. When you go to the adult, you start earning, you get married, you get family, you get kids, you start looking for their wellness, you start working for them. That's again a journey. And that journey will take you to the old phase where you start thinking about your health, your diseases, savings, any pensions, money, everything. That will again be a journey which will take you to the death. Is there any destination? No, the destination is only death. There's no other destination. Again, this cycle continue. This is what is written in Mahabharata. So people always need to think the life is all about a journey, not a destination in every phase. This perception has to change. Once this perception changes in the people's mind, that's where you get the best result of the life. When you start thinking it is about the journey, you get the best result rather than thinking about the destination. Now, the next question, which is the question number 8, last question of the section B, it's talk about, if you see here, it says the contentment is natural wealth, luxury is artificial poverty, संतोष स्वाभाविक संपत्ति है, विलासिता कृत्रिम निर्धनता है. Is this question on the expected line? Then I would say yes. I was expecting this question to come either this year or next year or somewhere in the last year also I was expecting this kind of question. Why this question? Young people running towards the artificial rich or the fake rich. You can say fake rich. Why this is happening? Because people started looking at the social media. They think they start looking at the social media, the reels. They start looking at the influencers who claim to be the rich by doing so and so things over social media, but those are all the artificial poverty. Those are not the real poverty. Those are not the real wealth. Those are all the artificial wealth. For example, if you see the fashion industry, they promote their industry. They want their industry to be promoted. Because of that, they think their revenue will be growing. And they hire an influencer. What they do, they promote their industry and they say, okay, this much I have earned from this one and this much I have earned from this one. So young people start thinking about this and they start running behind the artificial things, luxurious things, which is not the real wealth. Those are the fake wealth, you can say. People running towards the materials and other activities. So is this the good question that can be answered in 1,000 to 1,200 words? I would say probably no, or maybe yes to some extent. But what is the best one that can be taken from the number 5, 6, 7, 8? So I can say 6 and 7 is the one which can be picked, or most of the people have picked this one. All right, we'll come up with the next session where we'll discuss the GS paper.